Welcome to the program, Leah Gibson.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. So nice to see you.
It's nice to see you as well. I got a chance to watch Mercy, and kind of very much a throwback to like the secured location, cat and mouse game action thrillers of the '90s.
Oh man,
Here,
this isn't your first rodeo, huh?
oh
Just
man.
summed up the whole.
Well, there you go. Well, it's not your first rodeo either, but it's your first action film starring as a lead. And for those who haven't had a chance to see like the trailer yet, what is Mercy about?
So Mercy is about a woman with a painful past and a special set of skills who is forced to go to extreme measures to protect her son when the Irish mafia takes hostage the hospital she's working at.
Yeah, and with this film, because it's this kind of like secured film, cat and mouse game sort of thing, you're trying to evade the enemy, you're trying to protect the basically the asset in the situation. The main characters, the main villains of this story, with John Voight and Jonathan Rhys Meyers, the characters are interacting, but they're not really actually sharing any screen time until like the big climaxes. So for you, when it came to finally getting to do like the face-to-face scenes, was that a much easier uh, moment to grasp than say the times where you're basically essentially working by yourself?
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, specifically with the shooting schedule, Johnny had a filming commitment in Europe. So we had to get through his filming schedule first over the first couple of weeks. So, and of course, as you would know this in filming TV, we often are filming out of sequence, right? So some of the let's see, I think it was the last scenes of the film that I had with Johnny, they were done very early on, which happens a lot when you're
Yeah.
filming, right? And so you have to kind of sort of prepare emotionally for what you would have mapped out the arc of the character would have been before that, which we haven't filmed yet.
Right, right, right.
But
Yeah.
because Johnny is just such a phenomenal professional, obviously, and just brings a level of expertise and high level creativity and a level of intensity alone that is just so live.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, all you do is just breathe and kind of perceive what is on the other end of this. And it's like, yeah, it's amazing to work with.
That's awesome. Yeah. So overall, this is like a very intense film. And of course, you have to put yourself through a lot of physical work for this because, like, as I said, it's an action film. It's one versus all, one of those kind of classic action tropes, like very Die Hard. I even felt that there was kind of a tribute to Die Hard in the sense that your character basically has John McClane's outfit from the first Die Hard movie in
Oh,
this
you
movie. Yeah.
noticed the way
Yeah.
the tank top.
Yeah.
I remember in wardrobe too. Like I remember in wardrobe, trying things on, and it specifically had to be ribbed tank top, a white ribbed tank top.
Well, yeah, you're getting down in the muck here with this, and I know that you did a lot of work with Dan Rizzuto to prepare for this. He was the stunt coordinator. How labor intensive? Because I know that you were working after hours trying to get this, getting prepared for this. So, like, how labor intensive was this?
Well, honestly, with a production like this, there was really not a lot of time, which might not surprise you because you seem to know the what of all of this. It was, let's see, it was a month long shoot, but it was a little bit broken up. I was brought on to the production pretty late, just a couple of days before filming. So I got to Vancouver and kind of just touched down and reached out and got Dan Rizzuto's contact info right away. And I texted him and said, I will take as much time as you have because I really wanted to give my all to the physicality, which was one of the most exciting things about the production to me when I signed on to it. So I think we only had 2 days of scheduled rehearsal for the fighting. 2 days of scheduling. So. And then other than that, I just, because we were already up and going and the fights were scheduled on specific days, I wanted it in my body as much as possible. So I was training up to 3 times a day at the Lions Gym in Vancouver. They're just a wonderful fighting facility. And just to have the movement in my body and just, and then of course, like between the beats around my hotel, I have some really cute, like behind the scenes, videos of my hotel room, and they were just, I'm so old school. Like I don't go digital. I have script pages everywhere. And I was just like doing like stuff to the mirror in my hotel, just trying to practice the choreography. So, but Dan is just such an incredible professional, and his team of stunt performers as well. My girlfriend Mitra Suri, who was my stunt double and spent a lot of time with me getting me ready. They're just able to function with such a high level of creativity, just like on the fly. So there were sequences that we had prepared, that I was like really excited about performing, and then they had to be completely readjusted and something new choreographed, minutes before we were to film it, because there was a situation that didn't quite fit the set. So, and they had to just recreate and teach it to me and make sure I was comfortable. So there was like, it was just all very high intensity.
Man, very
definitely
intense.
definitely my first with all of that, but so exciting, and so excited to do more of it.
Yeah, and well, you did a majority of your own stunts in this, so I'm wondering when you
all my own stunts except for go through the table, which my girlfriend Mitra did, who does the hard stuff.
Right. That being said, avoiding the table, everything. Did you feel when you got off the set? Did you feel banged up? Did you feel like, oh, you're pretty
Oh my God, I
roughed
have
up from
pictures
this?
of just bruises, but I like wore them proudly because
Yeah,
you like want to.
of course, definitely.
You want to have a sign that you did the thing.
Yeah. Because it's funny because you've been in a lot of like intense projects before and like genre stuff and action stuff, but this is like the one where it's actually like, no, you're gonna get thrown around quite a bit.
Oh yeah, 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 definitely. And I've always, I mean, it's been something that I've wanted to do much more of for the past few years. Um, and when you're not the lead of something, they don't really like take your enthusiasm about wanting to be involved in the fights as much. But when you're the lead, you kind of get to say, no, I want to do this. I want, they get to work with what you'd really like to do.
Right.
But in the past, I've certainly like, learned stunt sequences and really wanted to give it everything. But there wasn't time to learn it a little bit better. To be
Yeah, before they were just like, yeah, whatever. But this time it's like, okay, no,
yeah.
Leah wants to know this. She is the star. We gotta show it to her.
Thanks, James.
So Michelle is like a really like tortured character. She's carrying around a lot of trauma here, of course, lost a loved one in this, in the heart of war. And we get, well, of course, seeing her in action that she's had an extensive training and has been through a lot. But, of course, that's not necessarily on the page. A lot of that is what you have to bring to the performance. So was there a lot of talks with Tony about like exactly how long Michelle had been out there, how much she had done? Or was he kind of like giving you leeway of you can add to how much you think she's gone through?
Tony and I were in a lot of communication throughout all of filming, and he's such a wonderful communicator. So I'm so grateful for that. He was so available to me throughout the process. And, we discussed roughly the idea. And then I just researched as much as possible, watching documentaries, watching films, and just developing my own relationship to type of living circumstances that she's been through, and also importantly honoring the grief and the loss and the PTSD ultimately that she's been struggling with and that she does struggle with in the film. And it's something that I think I have more experience playing female characters that really come from a place of trauma for
Mm.
whatever reason, and it's in a particular genre. It throughout these other past experiences, maybe that can be expressed in a particular way. But so, if anything, like Tony and I had to navigate sort of how sort of the degree to which she was still struggling and how we wanted to sort of curate that expression, if that makes sense. So there was more trauma that was expressed in the filming process that we ended up scaling back from a little bit, because it can be my tendency to just go a little dark.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Well,
And
it's very emotional material. Like it's very like there is some darkness to it, definitely. So,
yeah, what I think, well, I know that the film as it's presented is maybe a third as dark as as I have. Kind of, but we gotta lighten her up a little bit. Oh, okay, right.
yeah.
Which
So what
I,
you're essentially saying is this could have been like Hurt Locker levels of fucked up. Is that
I
basically what
mean,
you're saying?
if I'm not Tony saying, okay, you need to, who knows? You don't want to leave me to my own
Who
devices.
knows how dark you could have gone, eh?
Yeah, I'm like ready.
Well, there you
Yeah,
go. Well,
yeah.
it's a good thing. Well, you don't want to go too dark because then it's hard to come back. So it's good that you didn't go that dark.
Right, but it's ultimately too a piece about finding what is sacred,
Right.
right? What is sacred for her? What is worth fighting for? And that represents the light of her life. That represents the light of all of our lives. It's that which is what is sacred. What would we fight for anything against?
Yeah.
And that's what the Irish family was also a juxtaposition about, that scene between Michelle and Patty in the reception area where he's saying, I'm looking for my son, and it's just this lightness moment of this recognition of family to family and the importance of that and the beauty of that. It's definitely a very important universal theme in this piece too.
Yeah, totally. And it's greatly mirrored later in the film with the next scene between Patty and Michelle as well. Uh,
Right, right.
really enjoy the juxtaposition of those two scenes because they're basically the same conversation but with different stakes. Totally.
Exactly.
But with that, the one thing I find kind of interesting having a female lead for this type of story, because as I said, the the plot, the structure, the trope of this story, usually has a male character and is usually very surface on like man on a mission trying to get to the end, whereas this kind of had that extra layer of actually getting to be more introspective about the fact that it's a mother trying to protect her son, and we really don't get to see that level of emotion in an action film. So was that something also that really stuck out to you from the script?
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting question, but obviously you come from an eye that's a wonderful fan of film. It's not something that maybe I really considered to the degree that you're reflecting about right now. I think I'm always taken by playing a female who is really trying to do her best against the odds within her or against her. And ultimately, that's like the recipe for any type of conflict that we would see in film. But when it becomes an introspective journey, that's when I really get interested and ignited. It's being able to share that very deeply personal experience of a human's life with the audience in a way that maybe hopefully some of us can identify with. Like, how many people see us throughout that introspective journey, that process, these very private struggles,
Mm.
these things that we're afraid to talk about or maybe even share with anybody, that no one maybe sees. And that's something that speaks to me. That's something that is worth fighting for. That's something that I'm interested in playing.
Right, definitely. um yeah, with that, uh Where do you think Michelle goes after this? Do you think that this experience has actually kind of been almost a cathartic healing to the trauma she's been carrying? Or do you think that, oh, she's still got a lot of work till she finally is okay in this world?
Like, is that, yeah, are you asking for the movie version or like the real life, right?
I'm not saying where does Leah go after this. I'm asking where does Michelle go after this?
um,
Like, where do you think she would? Do you think she'd be in a better
I,
place because of this?
I think this definitely, I think without a question, this helps her to surface and confront some things she's been afraid to look at.
Okay.
And I think that this helps to embolden her to want to continue to come back to her calling and her cause for fighting the good fight. Right?
Right.
That's what I know.
There
That's
you
what
go.
I know. And there's this scene in the locker room um, where she says, you know, Sebastian's character says, "What are you going to do now?" And she says, "What I said I never do." And she's not been wanting to look at this side of herself. She's not been wanting to deal and confront not only the death of her husband, but the casualties that she'd been involved with in her previous life chapter. Right. And now she's able to really step forward in a more holistic manner. And I actually know without any other reason than knowing that this is the ignition for her to continue to step forward in that journey.
All right. Well, it's good to know that
Exactly what
Michelle's going to be okay. That sounds good. Yeah. I'm happy for Michelle. I am. That's great. That's good.
I deserve this, right?
Yeah. Now, you kind of alluded to this before, but in the idea of where Leah goes after this, are there hopes to, make this a trend of like, being the front woman of action thrillers?
I hope so. I would love to. I love it. You know, and it was like 18 years in the business, and this is kind of the first of this nature, this type of role, this type of this specific genre, right?
Right.
And so it was a very steep learning curve for me, without a doubt. And God bless Tony, who kind of put up with me with that. Honestly, God bless him. And and so absolutely, I want to do it again. I want to do it again, and I want to do it better. I want to do it again.
All right. Well, I look forward to that. Sounds like you got a fire in you for that. That's awesome. That's great, man. Well, that's the thing, like action films, sometimes people just kind of throw them away as like, oh, they're just mindless fodder, but I know there's a lot of stuff that goes into this and, not only on a physical but a mental level. Like you had to put yourself not only in a mental place for the trauma your character was carrying, but also for the physical amount of work you put into it because you know, the physical and the mental are so connected. So,
Absolutely, that's such an elevated thing for you to say. That's such an elevated observation because the experience of having an emotional experience as the character and then physicalizing it, they're so. I mean, you cannot separate them; they're inseparable. And there were some scenes that we filmed that I was in a state of such a physical expression, like you would just be. I was shocked. I surprised myself at the emotion that came through, right? And it's just, yeah, it's a joy to physicalize as an emotional expression. It's interesting. It kind of surprised me.
well, I look forward to people getting to see Mercy. Of course, on digital and in select theaters, May 19th, coming to VOD June 2nd. Just one last thing before I go, you guys had the premiere last month at the Beverly Hills Film Festival. What was the experience at that festival? Like, was it a really good response? Did you have like a really fun time getting an audience, like getting to see an audience see it?
I was really nervous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was really nervous. I mean, it's just, it's a lot to see yourself up there, and then everybody's, but to be completely candid with you, I wasn't altogether prepared that I would actually sit and watch the film with everybody.
Mm.
I did the carpet and I helped introduce it with Tony and John and Stephen, and then I kind of just like couldn't get away. So I did sit beside my dear girlfriend and watched it. And I have to say it was so special to be able to watch it with a packed house and experience their emotions. like experience their reactions to the film, right? When they laughed, when they cheered,
Yeah.
you know, that was so special. It was a totally different experience. So it was a very special evening. It was so nice to, and so many people flew out for it that were involved in the film, and that was very special.
That's awesome. Well, again, looking forward to people getting to check out this film. And of course, whatever projects you have coming down the pipe, definitely be interested in checking them out. So, Leah, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Have yourself a good day.
Geek and hard.
Yeah.
That was
Always geeking hard. That's the way it
fun.
is. All righty. You're geeking hard too with all with the work you did in this film. You were geeking hard, definitely.
It's good, right?
Definitely. It's definitely good. All right. Have yourself a great day.
Thank you. You too.